This week on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
That I'm not just doing whatever you want me to do.
I don't give a
Yes,
what
you
do. Don't do that
You
to me.
do.
Bitch,
I
don't do
just
that.
I'm
fucking mad right now.
I'm pissed at you.
Call Electra. Wait, isn't that what you do? Hold on, it's Electra.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Let's get right into this new episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. That's Season 5, Episode 4. You guys, I am so happy that The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is on Wednesdays after The Real Housewives of New York, because it's kind of a way for me to cleanse myself of how boring whatever I just watched the previous day was on New York City. But anyway, I'm telling y'all, this is a great. I love Salt Lake City. They always bring it, and they've brought it 4 weeks straight, so they did not disappoint in this episode. They did a little cute intro to make it look like a 90s sitcom. I like that they did that. It was kind of creative. So let's get started with the actual episode. So it's a new day. The ladies are waking up. They're in their trip in Milwaukee. The night before at the Bucks game, it was very chaotic. Bronwyn was the center of a lot of the drama. Whitney has a full agenda for the day. It's going to be their last day, so there's a lot of stuff to do. So as everybody's getting ready, Meredith goes over to Lisa's room to tell her that last night Angie and Whitney approached her to badmouth Lisa. And they even reminded her of all of the things that Lisa said about her in the past. Remember when she called Meredith a piece of bleep, garbage whore, and that she effed all of New York and all that stuff? Which, to be fair, I mean, Whitney and Angie have a point. How can you trust someone who says all that about you? Meredith shouldn't trust Lisa. But because Meredith has beef with both Whitney and Angie, she's not really going to jump on their train, and that's why she's here telling Lisa everything they said. She also claims that she has forgiven Lisa, which that's fair. So then Whitney goes over to Lisa's room a little later to tell her about the beer caves that they're going to be going today. And Lisa, because keep in mind, Meredith had just said this to her, Lisa says, "I'm going to pass on that." And Whitney says, "Oh, what do you mean?" And Lisa says, "I'm going to pass on that. I have other things to do." So clearly Lisa was mad, even madder at Whitney due to what Meredith just told her. Not only that, Lisa then, I guess she didn't want to be by herself, so she goes to Maylee and Brittany, the two friends of the show, to ask if they want to join her to ditch Whitney's activity. Also, I guess that the reason that the episode started as a sitcom is because Heather gave Whitney a sweater, and she said that they were both going to be some old ladies from a show. I don't know what show that was, but I think that's why it was like sitcom. But anyway, the group gets on the Sprinter, and Whitney tells them that Lisa's not coming. So that's strange. Bronwyn says, "I wonder if she doesn't want to be around me because of what happened last night." And then Angie says that, well, maybe Lisa, she's been, her and I have been weird lately, but today maybe she wants to ignore me too because she hasn't talked to her at all. So Whitney says, "Wait a minute. Maybe Meredith, did you tell her what we said last night?" So they ask Meredith, and Meredith straight up says, "Yes, I did." Because apparently they had made a promise that they would tell each other stuff or whatever. So Whitney says, "Oh, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. That's why she didn't want to come." So those other three, Lisa, Maylee, and Brittany, went to play ice curling. I mean, to leave the other activity to do that, it's so boring. So then Brittany gets a text from Jared. At first, I didn't really care about this whole situationship, but I'm kind of invested now, not gonna lie. So I remember Angie told her the night before that her friend was getting text from Jared. Brittany wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe they were on a break during that time, but he keeps sending her all of these messages and messages and messages, and Lisa is telling her, "Stop, like you deserve so much better, like leave him already." The rest of the group arrives at the beer caves. They look so cool. Apparently, it's a big deal in Milwaukee. So they have a lot of cheese, which is also big in Wisconsin. Then they try a special beer. Mary, by the way, had never had beer, so this was her very first time trying it, and she actually liked it. The beer in particular, they were a little bit eloquent and whatever. So they had tastings of different beers and cheeses. Bronwyn shares that her husband used to work there. That was so long ago, like before she was born, because she's like 3 times her freaking age. So when they finish eating, they go to hear some stories about some ghosts that are in the caves. The workers there were actually supposed to be telling the stories, but Mary ends up telling an even more interesting story about her dad and Jeffrey Dahmer. So Heather and Whitney stayed back in the table though. And Heather says to Whitney, I need to tell you something that Meredith told me. They're talking about your business and how legit it might be. They're saying that you're white labeling products from China. Whitney says, well, they need to stop talking because that's my business. Whitney is mad, but she says that these are Meredith's same old tricks. She says that Meredith likes to gatekeep and doesn't want others to be successful in their small businesses. Heather says, please don't bring this up in the Sprinter. Save it for another time. So when they went back on the Sprinter to go back, it was very awkward. They weren't really talking. A lot of silence. Whitney did FaceTime Maylee, though, because she's a little bothered that Maylee's her friend, and the fact that she didn't go to the caves and didn't tell her. But they're heading back. So they head back, they get ready for dinner, and then they're going to be doing a drag show after that. So it's much later and they get back on the Sprinter. I've always said the Salt Lake City housewives are always on some Sprinter. Always. Heather says to Whitney, it's been such a fun trip, Whitney. It's been so much fun. And Whitney says, it's been so much fun for me too until I found out that my business is being talked about. Ooh. So she directs herself at Meredith and she says that, Meredith, you've been going around saying that I buy stuff from Alibaba. Meredith says, I saw the rumor. I just told Heather because I felt bad and I wanted to help you. Wow, what a spin, Meredith. I mean, talk about a spin. Meredith says, if you wanted my advice, you could have came to me. And Whitney says, I don't need your advice because it's not true. So the dinner was at a museum, a Harley Davidson museum. It was so cool. Whitney says that she loves motorcycles. The museum was super cool because it had so many of the pieces that they had, like, because the company started back in 1903. So they had how it showed how the motorcycles evolved and the history, just super cool. So there was a dinner table set there at a spot in the museum. Whitney had a gift for all of them. It was a necklace of her store. Obviously now she feels some type of way since that's the very same products that they're saying are from Alibaba. But after she gives it to them, I do think Whitney was trying to have some resolution with Meredith. She says, Meredith, that made me feel bad that you said that. If you were concerned or felt bad, you could have let me know. Meredith could have simply said, okay, and it's done. But no, Meredith says, you're making this into something bigger than it is. It's not that serious. So then here comes Lisa jumping in, even though this isn't about her, and says, yeah, Whitney, you're making this into something that it's not. You're doing the most. So Whitney and Lisa start going at it, and they start mocking each other. Lisa says, everybody goes around and gossips, just like you, Whitney, and Angie went to go gossip to tell Meredith that she should be aware of me. Angie says to Lisa, well, Lisa, I feel like you've been mad at me ever since I backed Whitney. And Lisa says, I don't care if you backed Whitney. I care about you meddling in my friendship with Meredith. And Angie says, well, I'm not meddling, but you are mad that I'm being friends with Whitney. And Lisa says, I don't care. You're friends with her. I don't give a F. She's like shouting at the top of her lungs. She says, our friendship changed when you went to go tell Whitney things that I was saying to you. Angie says, you just don't like that I'm not doing what you want me to. So they start going at it, and then Lisa says that's not true. I don't give an F. So Angie too then starts to get up and be dramatic as hell and says, you are making me feel like ish. And Lisa says, well, you haven't been a good friend. And they're going back and forth, and in the middle of the fight, Lisa says, why don't you go call Electra, since that's what you like to do to end conversations. Oh, Electra is Angie's daughter. And y'all, I was shocked. I was like, whoa, like that's a crazy thing to say in the middle of an argument. And Angie too was very shocked. Like she froze for a bit because I don't think she could believe what Lisa had just said. I mean, this is her daughter. So apparently, I guess Lisa called Angie every day, and I guess when Angie had to get off the phone, she would say, I need to go with Electra. So now she's bringing this up, which is so first of all, it's weird to bring up a child in the middle of an argument with two adults. Number two, Angie's her mom. And Angie even made a comment and said, yeah, at least I'm an attentive mom. And I mean, she could have said worse, but after that, like a hush all over the table. It was just awkward. It's super weird. But don't worry, it doesn't stay silent for long because then Brittany here comes Brittany, ready to give an announcement. She loves to give announcements about her relationship in a group setting. So she says that she's had an epiphany, and she says that she has broken up with Jared. Now, is this gonna last? Probably not. So they're talking to her about that. Again, this man's last name is Osman, so the ladies think that's cool, I guess. The Osmans were popular. I don't know. I haven't really heard about them. But Brownie in particular is asking a bunch of questions to Brittany, like, does she love him? Does she want to be with him because his last name is Osmond? So then Brittany says, I think you should worry about your own marriage, Bronwyn. Whoa. So then she starts to ask Bronwyn a bunch of questions. What's your husband's name? How did you meet him? Did you marry him because of his money? What's the age difference? And Bronwyn was answering everything because I guess she figured, if I was dishing it, I guess I should be able to take it. But then Brittany asks, are you attracted to him? And Bronwyn says, oh, well, look, I feel like that's a low blow. But she says that she is in love with her husband emotionally, physically, and that's why she's with him. And she reveals that they have no prenup. So that's kind of how they end the conversation. So then it's time for the drag show. Some of them dress up, and Bronwyn dressed up as a hot dog. And then she says, this is couture. No, that disclaimer don't matter here. It's an ugly Halloween costume. We can give you a pass for that heart dress, but not this. But anyway, like I said, they're in the club, they're having fun, and they have a little dance off on the stage. So at least they ended the trip on a good note. And that was the end of the episode. Again, you guys, 10 out of 10. Salt Lake City brings it every single time. I gotta say, you guys, y'all know I cannot stand Whitney for nothing. But to be honest, I'm kind of on her side on this Meredith stuff. Do I think her products are probably from these Chinese places? Yeah, I do. But for Meredith to be going around, I don't know, like Meredith's beef with her kind of seems a little like enough already. So I'm gonna have to give it to Whitney on this, and of course I'm gonna have to be Team Angie because Lisa, for her to just bring that up, it's not a good look at all. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What were your thoughts about the episode overall? Anything you want to tell me? Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on next time. You have a great one.